how, with the advent of Web 3.0, the payments landscape is evolving. Well, to do this, I would like to go ahead and welcome our panelists for the panel discussion. First one will be Mr. Vikas Bansal, Director of Amazon Pay. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Followed by Mohan K, co-founder and CEO of iPopay. Can we have you also on stage? And then Nitya Sharma, co-founder and CEO of Simple. Swati Taneja, GM of Online Business India and US, Kerala Ayurvedic Limited. And to moderate this session, I would like to go ahead and welcome Saurabh Kumar, Editor, Special Project Entrepreneur India. Can we have a huge round of applause for all of them, ladies and gentlemen?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us here. And thank you to my panelists also to join me here today. So I'll start with a very recent anecdote. So I failed to pay my newspaper bill last month, and to my surprise, one day the newspaper vendor actually wrote on the top of the newspaper, "Good morning, sir. Hope you're having a good time. Kindly transfer rupees 400," and he gave me an UPI ID. So it was a good reminder for me. I put that up on social media and I got some 200, 300 retweets and likes. So why I'm citing this is because these are the kind of ways through which Paytech is actually making life simple for us, for everyone in general. Obviously, we are going to talk about how it's working out for the retailers and the D2C operators. So just to start with, today retailers have so many options. They have POS, they have interoperable QR codes, they have UPI. But so when a retailer is starting out, so what are the parameters that he should look at in terms of accepting payments? So what should be the parameters that he should look at when he takes up a QR code from anyone? I mean, there are many operators right now. So how does one go about choosing it? So Vikash, can I start with you?
Yeah, hi, I'm Vikas, a whole-time director with Amazon Pay. It's a good question. So how we think about payments is that payments touches every consumer, right, and small business in India. And selection of payments is extremely important. So that means that you have to give the choice to the customer whether they want to pay by credit card, debit card, or UPI, or the new payment methods, right, pay later, or even net banking and others, right? I think the choice has to be there. But what is important is how do you prioritize for the customer so that the payment almost becomes invisible. And so one is that selection needs to be there. Two, you got to really prioritize what's good for that customer in that context. And using, that's what we do. We try to look at the transaction, we try to look at the customer, and then offer them the best payment. And then the criteria is really simple, right? You say like what they should look at. The most important metric is the conversion, is if 100 people landed on the payment page, how many converted, right? That's a very important metric. And then how long it took to process the payment, and the failure or the success rates, right? Those are the very, very basic metrics that we really look at when we are prioritizing any payment method. In addition to that, I think it's also more upper funnel is if there are options that are more differentiated for that brand, for that customer. How do you communicate more in the upper funnel so that you use this as a lever, right, to convert or bring new customers, or even if I'm here to buy like a 500 t-shirt, I'll end up buying 1,000 t-shirt, right? 1,000 rupees t-shirt. So those are some of the things that become really important. But I hope that makes sense to answer your question.
Okay. Nitya, your views?
Hi everyone, my name is Nitya, founder CEO of Simple. I think this topic is more relevant in this type of a conference than maybe other forms of retail, because when you think about D2C commerce, whether e-commerce or physical commerce, um, the real need for D2C is because consumers are looking for experiences. And, and that is the sort of the demand that I think entrepreneurs here and quite a few of us here are trying to fulfill. And when we think about what is the experience of payments, and we think very deeply about that. And one of the things that we, from a principal point of view, at Simple, believe is that the best payment experience is no experience. So no one ever wakes up in the morning to kind of like make a payment or make 5 payments or make a payment from UPI or Pay Later or something else. People want to buy, and then in the context of buying, the payment has to happen. When we approached this problem, we kind of like fell back on a very old school way of doing transactions, which is the khata, right? So if you think about a khata that we all, or a tab or a account that you run with your trusted store, the experience is basically invisible. There is no experience, there is no payments, you just walk in, walk out. And I think as we think about e-commerce, and I'm sure the folks here think about e-commerce and commerce in general, the question is really about how do we not confuse the customer about the purchase versus how to pay for it. And the approach we have taken at Simple is just separate the two. So checkout is different from payments. And at Simple, that's how we approach solving the problem, so that the checkout experience could be the experience that is the right experience for that commerce establishment. And then settlement, therefore payments, can happen at a later date. In other words, you can call it Pay Later. So that's how we think about it.
Okay, okay. Swati, you are one of the persons who uses these, whatever, Simple is offering or Amazon Pay or others are offering.
Sure.
What parameters do you look at when you choose that what way you are going to accept payments? Because obviously you want the experience to be very smooth and, no dropouts, so that, conversions are more. So what do you do about it?
Right, right. Hi, everybody. This is Swati from Kerala Ayurveda, and thank you, Saurabh. Well, like you said, I'm actually the user here, so I can kind of maybe explain that how my customers are behaving when they have to make different sort of transactions. But before that, let me explain a little bit about the landscape of Kerala Ayurveda. So we have different businesses. We're actually an omni-channel brand. We have products, we have our resorts, clinics, wellness centers, spa centers, and then also we have academies. Now taking example of how transactions happen in our clinics, let's say, so how the service industry works is that people come for doctor consultation or people come for therapies, right? If you're coming for a doctor consultation, the ticket size is lower, maybe let's say 200, 300, or less than 500. When you're coming for a therapy, ticket size is very much higher. So it's somewhere between 10,000 to 50, 60,000, right? Of course, like every other vendor, we also have different payment methods. We transact in the credit cards, debit cards, then also the QR code, and then cash. Cash is very minimum, but of course, right. So what we have realized over a period of time is that all the low ticket size transactions are actually happening through QR codes, like the doctor consultation, where the transaction is predominantly less than a 500. Then, if you are taking a therapy and where the ticket size is higher, people are actually choosing credit cards and debit cards to make that payment, right? So this has been a trend across. Lower ticket size are being paid by other options like QR code, Google Pay, UPI, and the higher ticket size are being paid by credit card, debit cards, right? So that's, I think, the customers, the way they are thinking, the way they are choosing the methods they want to pay through is also kind of dependent on the ticket size and also the convenience. So of course, one doesn't fit all approach is what we have to inculcate, having the different sort of business streams that we have at Kerala Ayurveda. So yeah, I think that's that.
Okay, okay. I'm just, yes, I'll come to Mohan. I understand about credit cards, because that's a different set of users. But debit card or, QR codes, the money is actually going out of your account instantly, right? So be it 50,000 or be it 500 rupees, doesn't make a difference. So why do you think would be this anomaly would be there in terms of people going for a debit card for making a payment of 50,000?
Well, it's more of credit card payments. Card payments is what I would say. People choose credit card, and it's quite prominent in the industry where we are. For the UPI, of course, this is the lower ticket size. For the higher ticket size, of course, credit cards.
No
Now,
debit cards, then, right?
yeah, you can say rarely 10,000, 15,000, maybe debit cards, but when it goes to 30,000, 50,000, people do transactions of 60, 70,000 also. So yes, definitely credit card. And you, I mean, it's interesting. I've noticed sometimes, husband wives are actually discussing about selecting a card. Which credit card should they pick up to make the payment? Because when you go back, you get the reward points, right? So nowadays you can also buy business class tickets with those reward points. So people have that discussion before making the payment, 50, 60,000.
Okay, all right,
Yeah?
all right,
Yeah.
got it. So Mohan, I'll come to you. So what is next in terms of, innovation? You have your own solution. What is the next step of, because fintech obviously is one area which has evolved the most, I would believe, in all these tech spaces, and it is still going on, and there are newer things being added in terms of ease and lesser dropout rates. So what are the next innovations that we are looking at, especially with Web3 coming in?
Okay, hi. I'm Mohan, co-founder, CEO of Ipopay. So Ipopay, we are a neo banking solution provider for especially offline retail businesses. Okay. So based on your question, I can give you my point of view in terms of what I'm seeing in the market for offline sectors, right? Okay. So there is no innovative payments for offline business yet. But what Ipopay, we provide is an end-to-end solution for retail businesses, where they can have a point of sale software in place to keep all the stock management inventory. We offer Khata book, digital ledger inside with the payments, So of course, UPI is our main focus to collect the payments. At the same time, we offer a neo banking solution where they can transfer money to another retail businesses, The retail is all about buying, selling products. So in terms of product side, especially payment side, we want to give an end-to-end solution where they can focus their business, because as a fintech, we have to solve our problem in the market, So that is the evaluation we are seeing in the future, end-to-end solution for offline retail businesses.
And anything with this Web3 coming in, because I was talking to some of the retail grocers yesterday, and they were pretty excited about this space. And some of them are actually already experimenting and trying to, create experiences for customers. So at Amazon or Simple or have we already started seeing that, any checkouts are being thought of, that how it will happen in the metaverse or something?
So it's still very early days when it comes to Web3, right? But let's think about the problems we face today. One of the problem is around trust, right? That my data, is it secure? Is it not used, right, for unintended purposes? That's number one. Number two is, can I get access regardless of my, city or my country? Can I get access to products and services globally? right? And can I then also make everything more instant? So if you think about the basic problems that still exist today, is that a lot of our payments and financial services are not instant, right? And they are still confined to a geographical location, and then data kind of, sometimes get misused. So I think those are the fundamental problems that I believe Web3 will handle, where it will put your data in completely your control and in a very decentralized fashion, right? So it is completely in your control. You will certainly have access to any products and services and any payments globally. So the world, all these things will get completely eliminated. And obviously, the experiences. So I think there are a lot of experiments going on. I really think this technology to become mainstream will take 2 to 3 years. And like everybody else, we are also thinking or looking at it very, very closely. So just a few perspectives. But it is nothing like, it's just the next phase of evolution, really solving problems that still exist today, right, in Web 2.0 today.
Okay, Nitya, how serious are you about blockchain?
Yeah, that's a very important development for us, Web3 and blockchain. So if you think about fundamentally what Web3 does is it decentralizes um, insights, data, and control to a large extent. So now when you think about a traditional mode of payment like a credit card, and we were just talking about how valuable loyalty points are. Today, if you think about it, it's very centralized, as in retailers pay a very large fees, etc., and consumers get points because of that, and they obviously use it for flights and dinners and so on. But those points are not benefiting the retailers, right? So now if you were to sort of fast forward the world in, let's say, Web3 and some of the work we are doing, so now think about, so what we are working on is loyalty rewards, which would be tokens, um, where a retailer would be able to, let's say you buy sneakers from some store, and you buy them, you have a great experience, trust, ease of checkout, etc., and then you get loyalty points from that retailer in form of tokens. Um, as Vikas said, what Web3 does, you can obviously give points and money and cash back. What Web3 does is it provides the retailer the transparency around the fact that the value that they are giving is going directly to someone, for example, their customer. And then they can track the usage of that value, right? So yeah, I mean, we believe very strongly that Web3 will accelerate this trend in every sphere of life on the internet, whether it's commerce or financial services, where things will become more decentralized. Small retailers will be able to participate and build consumer experiences and relationships, which will be both of loyalty and trust, leveraging this new technology called blockchain.
Okay, I think you're the third or fourth person on stage yesterday and today, including, who has told me about loyalty points. So I see that something really is happening in that space when it comes to blockchain. Before we go on, any questions from the audience? Anyone? All right. So, Swati, coming to you. So, uh, you know, with your, I mean, you have the business around here, but with more and more people going to tier 2 and tier 3 towns now, and D2C expanding, retail expanding, what are the trends that probably we are going to see when it comes to, adoption of, services that you have? And what kind of trends in payments do you think we will see in those areas?
Sure, sure, yes. So definitely behavior is a little bit different when you look at the people from tier 1 and then you look at the people from tier 2. When we started our D2C website in 2019, we actually started without COD option, right? We started without COD. The idea was to start with the tier 1 cities and then gradually move to tier 2, tier 3 and so on. Now, of course, thanks to Geo, the internet penetration is quite nice in these areas. while we started receiving traffic from tier 2 and tier 3 cities on our website for our products, but the conversions were definitely very low. So what we have done in the past 4-5 months back, we've actually introduced COD on our website, and we have we're seeing sort of growth in terms of the orders, in terms of the conversions that we receive from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which are actually almost nil before. So that's definitely a strong trend that people in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities have got access to internet, right? They are browsing websites, they're happy to consume content, but when it comes to making a payment, there's still certain level of inhibition when they have to pay something upfront without the product. But after launching COD, you're definitely seeing some growth and some orders, some conversions from tier 2 and tier 3. Yeah.
Okay. So Mohan, what do you think is the reason? I mean, still people in tier 2, 3 towns not very comfortable parting with money
Yes.
before getting the actual product?
Yes, I think so.
So
Because
brands would need to build that trust over time. Like, I mean, there are brands which are known. So is it the delivery that they are not sure about, or the brand that is an offer?
well, it's actually both ways. Now, when I look at that age bracket, so if I look at the demographics of our business, it's a very wide range. So we have customers from 20 years to, let's say, 50, 60 years old also, right? Because we sell medicines, we sell treatments. So we don't see that sort of inhibition in the younger generation, but when you go to a generation, let's say 50 years or 45, 50 years, 60 years, while if you see the same age group in a tier 1 city, they are more comfortable and confident about making a payment, right? But the same age bracket in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities is just uncomfortable making that. They're not tech savvy. They may be good at looking at Facebook and Instagram, but not so much when it comes to an online transaction, right? So this is a very clear trend that we have seen, and it is definitely related to the age bracket, Saurabh, if you see. Yeah.
All right. All right. So we just have about 3 more minutes. So Mohan, your thoughts about trends that you must have observed when it comes, because now D2C, the acceptance of D2C in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns, I have seen, I have myself witnessed it, it's going up. So what do you think are things that these D2C guys should keep in mind when they offer payment methods to these people, especially given that Swati just said that the trust factor still is, they don't want to part with money so easily because they have not been used to it, so they're not so confident.
Yeah, T2C to tier 2, tier 3 rural areas, that is one of the very interesting sector, especially for me, But it's definitely, it's not easy, it's going to be very tough, obviously, because of that penetration. What I believe that maybe the customer will have a very good price comparison compared with Amazon, Flipkart, if brand is directly going to the rural areas. In terms of payments, what we are seeing in the market now, UPI is penetrating a lot in terms of tier 2 rural areas, So we successfully onboarded more than 50,000 merchants last 3 months in Tamil Nadu alone, okay, for the UPI payments. So, UPI, UPI main focus is to like eliminate the cash, So as ma'am said, like card will always be there, So in India, like we have 25 million active credit card holder are there, So rewards and like cashbacks, sometimes e-NAS setup for monthly recurring collections. Card is very important. But the D2C brands, when they go to especially rural areas, I believe that they have to focus UPI. The collection mode should be from UPI side.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I think what I can conclude from here is that going forward, obviously there are innovations, as Vikas said about in the Web3 space, and Nitya also said, and Swati told us that we have to give options to people if D2C guys want to go to tier 2, 3 towns before they gain trust. Maybe COD is the way which we have eliminated in tier 1 towns almost. So thank you so much everyone for being a part of this session.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt that the retailers are adapting new payment solutions. I request Mr. Saurabh to please hand over the mementos. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all of them? Thank you so much, everybody.